Question: do you agree with Amnesty International that Israel is an apartheid state against the Palestinians? Or do you think this is an anti-Semitic comment to make? Commonly known as the Apartheid Convention, the International Convention on the Suppression and Punishment of the Crime of Apartheid, adopted by the United Nations General Assembly, defined apartheid as an inhuman act committed for the purpose of establishing and maintaining domination by one racial group over another racial group and systematically oppressing them. Apartheid for many evokes the long racial divide which existed in South Africa between white people in power and black people who were oppressed, which came to an end in the 1990s. Now, Amnesty International states this: whether they live in Gaza, East Jerusalem, Hebron, or Israel itself, Palestinians are treated as an inferior racial group and systematically deprived of their rights. Israel's cruel policies, like forced evictions, home demolitions, and separation of families across all territories under its control, amount to apartheid. Recognizing this racist system for what it is the first step to dismantling it. And further, Amnesty International states this: since the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948, successive governments have created and maintained a system of laws, policies and practices designed to oppress and dominate Palestinians. This system plays out in different ways across the different areas where Israel exercises control over Palestinian rights. However, the intent is always the same: to privilege Jewish Israelis at the expense of Palestinians. And Amnesty says they have documented 4 ways the Israeli authorities enact this system. 1. Fragmentation, keeping Palestinians separated from each other into distinct territorial, legal and administrative domains. 2. Dispossession, decades of discriminatory land and property seizures, home demolitions and evictions. 3. Segregation, a system of laws and policies that keep Palestinians restricted to enclaves, subject to several measures that control their lives and segregated from Jewish Israelis. And deprivation, the deliberate impoverishment of Palestinians, for example, keeping them at great disadvantage in comparison to Jewish Israelis. However, the UK government would completely disagree in singling out Israeli policies as apartheid, and in its report states this under the heading Anti-Semitism, Delegitimization and Anti-Israel Bias. The UK is proud of its long-standing track record of standing up for the rights of members of all faiths and beliefs internationally, including the Jewish community. Israel and the UK will continue to combat anti-Semitism in all its form. And moreover, with the UK government standing strong with Israel, states this: the UK and Israel will work together to tackle the singling out of Israel in the Human Rights Council, as well as in other international bodies. In this context, the UK and Israel disagree with the use of the term apartheid with regard to Israel. Now, what lies at the centre of the objection to the phrase is the idea of equating racism with Israel's laws and policies, and whether because of such laws and policies the State of Israel should exist. And one of the illustrations contained in the non-legally binding working definition of anti-Semitism, which refers to race, is this: denying the Jewish people their right to self-determination, e.g. by claiming that the existence of a State of Israel is a racist endeavour. But what do you think? Do you agree with Amnesty International that Israel is an apartheid state for the Palestinians? Or do you disagree and say that this is an anti-Semitic comment to make? Feel free to comment, follow, like and share.